Yo, what's good, you guys? Rasati out here in Singapore, and y'all, I feel so much better. I swear. Like even when I did the podcast episode this morning, I kind of felt out of it, but I understood like the reason I needed to get on and talk to you about sleep and water and exercise. I was definitely feeling like some major pain still after that migraine. So right now, I feel a little bit better. I feel a little bit more like myself. But even then, I still have like a ton of work to do, right? Because I don't know, there's no time to rest for the wicked. We still got work to do. But today, I want to talk to you about a conversation, well, a comment I made in response to a comment that was made, right? So basically, I posted yesterday that I had a really bad migraine and I was suffering. And I usually don't post about migraines. When they come, they come. I go to sleep and, I'm out of it for a while. But I knew I was going to be out of commission for more than a couple of hours. And I I think most people tend to notice when I'm not on social media. So I figured I'd put out the disclaimer. I was out for about 24 hours, literally. And yeah, I just couldn't get it together, y'all. It was really painful. So somebody that I really love dearly reached out and said, hey, so was it an eye kind of migraine? And the way they asked me was really casual. So I answered very casually back. And I said, yeah, the right one. To which I got this comment saying that I made a grammatical error when I wrote that, right? And I was thinking, yeah, okay. But I also remembered that while I used to be one of those grammar police types, and while I do appreciate very good grammar, um, I also understand that me expecting that out of everybody else kind of just sets me up for disappointment anyway. And people communicate the best way they know how, and it should be me that has grace enough to accept people as they are rather than to find fault in the first place. Because when this person commented that back to me, I realized, hey, they weren't actually concerned about the migraine at all, were they? If they were worried about the grammar, they could have figured out what I was talking about. If they needed some clarifications, they could have asked any other question. So, me being an ass sometimes and finally deciding that I wasn't going to be quiet and keep my mouth to myself, I decided to respond. And I responded using a Maston Kip quote, actually. And I told him that typos and grammatical errors were a means for you to heal your perfectionism. To which I have not heard a response back at all, and I'm okay with that. I usually bow down to this person. I usually let them bully me a little bit. I usually let them feel like they've got the upper hand because I don't feel like I have the energy to fight them. But by me not stepping up and telling them that it's not okay, I'm also teaching them that, hey, you know what? This is the way to treat me if they want me to shut up. If they want me to, concede and let them think that they're amazing, then this is what I need to do. So today, because I was in pain, because I was not about to take any shit off of nobody today, I went ahead and gave back. But I want to explain myself. And not to him, I could care less what he takes of it. But I want to explain myself to everyone else so that you understand what I mean by that. Yes, first point, I teach people how to treat me. And if I keep rolling over every time, they're going to expect me to roll over every time. And when I don't, they're going to try really, really hard to make me feel bad. They're going to want the last word every time, right? That's fine. That's up to them. The second thing is, though, and how do I say this? It took me a little while to kind of understand really what Master Kip was saying. At first, it was really funny, right? Everyone laughed when he said it in the class that he was giving. But as I thought about it, I was like, you know what? That's true. It's kind of like the Crusades. It's kind of like any endeavor to convert people to your way of thinking. If I believe that perfect grammar is essential to putting up a really professional front as a business and all that stuff, that's my gift. That's my gimmick. That's my bag, right? That's my baggage. I can't expect everyone that I cross paths with to have perfect grammar. Case in point, I'm in Singapore. They have good grammar. It's not perfect, but they have good grammar, considering we're in Asia. Yeah? It's not stilted English. It's not it's not bad. Okay? It's not perfect, but it's not bad. It's not the Queen's English. It's definitely not American English, but it's not bad. Sure, they throw some slang in here every now and again, so that's why we have Singlish. But to be fair, they have good English. I could definitely understand what most people are talking about. The point being, though, if I judge them for grammatical errors, if I judge them for spelling typos, what does that say about me? It doesn't really say anything about them. It says a lot more about me, though. And I can't expect to convert people to what my way of thinking by judging them. And first of all, that's not the point. I don't want to convert anyone to my way of thinking. If anything, I'd like to open your mind up to another possibility to consider. But outside of that, that's it. I'm good. You don't believe what I'm saying? That's cool. You don't like what I'm saying? That's cool too. But I'm going to say what I think needs to be said so that it hopefully opens your mind up to another possibility. I don't believe in soothsayers. I don't believe in, fortune telling, so to speak. I believe that everything happens for a reason. At the specific, blah. Let me start over. I believe that everything happens at a specific time for a specific reason. I believe that every time somebody's read me my horoscope, it was either to tell me something that I needed to consider or something to incite me to make sure it never happened. I believe the reason I fought so hard not to be a single parent for a long time is because I was under the impression that I was supposed to be in a happy family, happy marriage, happy, child, happy everything. That's not what happened though. And that's cool. And honestly, I think it said somewhere in my horoscope that that's what would happen. I would be a single parent, and I fought tooth and nail for that not to happen. Guess what? It happened anyway. But that's cool. I'm okay with that. I've finally gotten my head wrapped around it, and I'm okay with that. I think somewhere along the line it said that I would have many children, and as much as I wanted that, it didn't happen that way yet. I'm still young. Things could still happen. I don't know. But at the moment, that's not where I am. And that's okay. Things are in flux. Things are always changing. Every decision I make changes my horoscope. Imagine that, right? But with all that being said and done, I know that I'm here to instigate some people. I know that I'm here to inspire some people. I know that I'm here to offend some people. And it may not always be through grammatical errors and typos, but I know it's what I need to say at the time that I need to say it. I know that I had a conversation with a young lady yesterday. She is a lady from my past, someone older than me, and someone that I think I used to respect once upon a time. But I've never been a fan of people taking advantage of others. And I said something to her yesterday, and I definitely spoke up more than I probably should have because I got that look from my mom like, oh my God, can you please behave yourself? But sometimes you need to be reminded that your behavior is not acceptable. Sometimes when you hear it from the same people over and over again, you don't believe them. You figure, oh, they've just got a bone to pick with you. They have nothing else better to say. This is just the way they feel. It'll be all right. But that's not the case. Sometimes you need someone from outside to remind you, hey, everything that everyone's been saying has a shred of truth because I, as an outsider, am seeing it too. It can be offensive. It can rub you the wrong way. It can upset you. But the ultimate point of fact is, if you really want to change and you really want to mend what you have in your family, you got to take the good in with the bad, which means at some point you're going to have to look at yourself and not look at everybody else. I remember thinking, every one of these problems has me at the root of it. And I thought, oh my God, like if I got rid of me, then everything would be okay, right? Yeah, that was the depressive state. I took a very depressive stand on that. But I wasn't far off base. I am the common denominator in all of my problems. Otherwise, it wouldn't be my problems. It'd be somebody else's problems, right? I'm the one thing in common in all of my problems. And what I realized was I needed to change me and not everybody else, which means I cannot judge anybody else. I've got to start with me. It's not saying that I'm not good enough. It means I have room to improve. It doesn't mean that, I'm the worst person in the world and I'm causing all this drama. No, that's not it. It means that I'm looking at it from the wrong angle. I think the scene from Big Hero 6 where Tadashi was carrying his brother upside down and told him, hey, you just need to look at it from a different angle was probably the best illustration I could think of to show you. I knew what the problem was. I was looking at it from the wrong angle. And a lot of people don't realize that. Case in point, the young man who wrote to me, acting like they cared about the migraine, only to correct me on my grammar, showed me exactly my point. He knew what the problem was. He knew I was in pain, but how he approached me, his bedside manner, definitely lacking a lot. Because suddenly it wasn't about me, suddenly it was about my grammar. I'm not offended, but it did remind me that there are a lot of people out there who cannot see what they are doing to their environment because they're too invested. They worry about all the wrong things, the things that they can't change. The only thing you can change are your actions, your thoughts, your words, your attitude. Nothing else. Nothing else is in your purview. I can't control my daughter. I can't control the weather. I can't control her father. I can't control my mom. I can't control anyone. I control me. I'm in charge of me. I'm in charge of raising my daughter as in providing the best opportunities for her to learn lessons well and repeat them enough so that they become manapadam, which means, muscle memory. Yeah? And that's all I'm in charge of. From there, I need to let everything else go. I can't carry everyone else's problems. I can't decide that that's my thing to worry about. So, the reason I named this Typos and Grammatical Errors is because I need you to understand your expectation of the world is your expectation. You need to understand that once you set an expectation, there is a great probability that people will fall short because people come from everywhere with all kinds of experiences, all walks of life, all backgrounds. Now, even though you have an expectation and people might disappoint you, you do have this beautiful opportunity to teach them how to treat you. As in, you say, no, this is not acceptable. No, I would prefer you did this. No, this kind of offended me. You have that obligation to yourself. Speaking up, absolutely. As politely and as kindly as you possibly can, please speak up for yourself. Teach people what your love language is. Teach people how you best respond. Don't let anyone treat you any kind of way. Don't roll over for anyone. Teach them. Tell them. When someone asks you, what do you like? You know those discovery questions when you first go on a date or whatever. When someone asks you about yourself, be honest. Because guess what? Whatever reason they asked you that question, they're trying to build a portfolio of you. So they know what to do and what not to do, how to treat you. Tell them, be honest. And if you don't know, tell them you don't know. Perfectly fine. But please, don't push your expectations on other people. Tell them what they are by all means. And if they measure up, great. And if they don't, that's fine too. And this is something I'm actually going to address in a class tomorrow, rejection and what you do about rejection. Because I feel like people want a specific kind of behavior. People want to be respected. People want attention in a specific way. But for some reason, when they say what they want, how they want it, they get very offended when the first person that crosses your path is not a good match. But think about that. They're not a good match for a reason. And you chasing them down and convincing them that you are great, telling them parts about you until they decide that, okay, maybe you're not so bad after all. That only demoralizes you. That only breaks you down further. Have grace. Have grace enough to tell people what you want and be graceful enough to accept when they don't fit. Not everyone is meant to fit. Could you imagine if everyone was a great fit? How much of a responsibility that would be? Oh my God. You have millions of friends and millions of boyfriends. You wouldn't be able to tell them apart. They'd all be after you, right? Like it'd be chaos. It'd be scary. Whatever your beliefs are, they are your own. I'm not saying your beliefs are wrong. But when you start to push your beliefs on other people, then it starts to get sour. Like when you try to convince someone that, they should go out with you. They have to be around you. They need to be around you. But once you go out on a date or maybe, you sit down for dinner or coffee or whatever, they chase you down until you break down and say, okay, fine, let's go. And then when you sit down and have that meal together or whatever, it's not all that you expected and suddenly both of you are feeling kind of awkward and you've ruined a potential friendship. Don't chase people down. Don't push people away. Be yourself. Let them come and go. Have no expectations. Swamiji used to say, make no appointments and you'll have no disappointments. And I couldn't agree with him more. I know because I've made a lot of appointments. I read a saying once that said, do you know how to make God laugh? And I was like, I was trying to think, okay, before I read the next line, let me see if I can think of a way to make God, how can I make God laugh? And next line was, tell him your plans. And I understood because so many times I've planned stuff and they just don't go right. Sometimes they work out fine. And sometimes, come hell or high water, I cannot get the plan to stick, man. And you know what? I've become fluid ever since. I've given up on trying to get to places on time. I've given up on trying to plan family vacations and tell people where we're going because guess what? Something will happen, it won't happen on time, and I'll miss something somewhere, and guess who's disappointed? The kids. So I've decided to go on adventures together instead, and I'll say, nope, just pack your bags, let's go, we're going to go here, and as in get on a bus, and you're just going to come with me, we're going to have fun on the way. And you know what? Oh my God, so much less stress. But I'm not going to tell you to do that with your kids. You trial and error, you see what works for you. The way I parent works for me. The way I've gotten through some of my traumas is working for me. Until I find out that something happens and I'm triggered again, right now it's working. I'm okay. In the midst of chaos, I am all right. And it's my obligation to show you where the signposts are so you don't make the same mistakes I do, but I can't stop you from making the mistakes. I could tell you, hey, watch out for that because it's a quick fix and it's not going to, it's going to pop up again. It'll feel good for a moment, but you're going to want to do it again, which means the problem isn't fixed. So please try not to do that, but if you go ahead and do that, I can't stop you. I can't force you to believe what I believe. What I believe came with blood, sweat, and tears. Lots of experience. Lots of mishaps. Lots of tripping and falling. I can tell you about it. And that's why me, as a projector, I wait till I'm invited. I gotta wait till you tell me, hey, you know what? I need your advice. Sure, I'll give you my advice. Typos and grammatical errors, they're peanuts, you guys. It's the little things that we quibble about and we lose friendships over. It doesn't change the essence of a person. You could be Mother Teresa with typos and grammatical errors. You're really going to hold that against them? Princess Diana, great hero for the people. I'm pretty sure Charles did not see her as a hero. That's okay. I'm pretty sure the Queen had her issues with her. That's okay. She did not change who she was. She was no less because of a few people's opinions. She was no less of a woman because of the few mistakes she made. And I know she made mistakes. Every one of us has. Please don't judge each other. Please don't get turned off by something as small as a typo or a grammatical error. It's petty. I hope that made sense, you guys. I'll catch you again soon. Bye.